country of focus this year in IFFI. So may I call upon stage director Mr. Tanveer Mukammal, sir, please. We also have the editor of the film, Mr. Mahadev Shi. Mr. Mahadev Shi has also worked in a number as Quiet Flows the River Rupsha. This is the opening film of the country focus section. We all know that Bangladesh is the country of focus this year in IFFI. So may I call upon stage director Mr. Tanveer Mukammal, sir, please. We also have the editor of the film, Mr. Mahadev Shi. Mr. Mahadev Shi has also worked in a number of films, films of India, Bengali films, as well as films of Bangladesh. May I call upon stage Mr. Shi, sir, please. May I also call upon stage the festival director, Mr. Chaitanya Prasad, sir. Sir. We are also privileged to have here amongst us the costume director and casting director of the film, I'm sorry. Yeah. Costume designer and casting director of the film, Mrs. Chitralekha Guha. And we also have the chief assistant director of Rupsha Nodir Banke, Mr. He's also the art director, Mr. Uttam Guha. Now, to speak about the synopsis of the film, it is a film about a left-wing leader who, like a great tragic character, fought against his destiny all along his life. While portraying the man's struggle, the film deals with a number of important historical events of the subcontinent. The central character faces British Swadeshi movement, the 1947 partition of India, the Tebhaga movement of Bengal peasants, creation of Pakistan, killing of the political prisoners inside jail in Rajshahi, and finally the liberation war of Bangladesh against Pakistan in 1971. Rupsha Nodir Banke is the story of a leftist leader and his time and era. The central character's name is Manav Ratan Mukherjee, who was born in a decaying feudal family in Kornopara village on the banks of the Rupsha River in Khulna district. As a child, the fatherless young man was a part of the Anushilon Shomiti during the British period and later joined the leftist movement. Due to his strong role in the peasant movement, local peasant movement, the peasants used to call him Comrade Thakur. So Manav Ratan lived a turbulent life amidst prison torture and various struggles, first during the British rule and later during the East Pakistan period. The greatest achievement of his life was to save thousands of peasants, bighas of agricultural land for the farmers by building a dam. And his most horrible experience was being an eyewitness to the shooting of inmates in Khapra jail ward at Rajshahi in 1950 during the East Pakistan period. Now this is about the movie. Speaking about the director, he's a highly acclaimed filmmaker of Bangladesh who has won the Ekushe Padok. So am I right? Yeah. Ekushe Padok and the National Award of Bangladesh for 10 times for his films, for his acclaimed films like Nodin Nam Madhumati. It's a 1995 film and the title translates into English as The River Named Madhumati. Chitra Nodir Pare, 1999 film. It translates into Quiet Flows the River Chitra. And Lal Shalu in 2001, which translates into English as The Tree Without Roots. He's also currently the director of Bangladesh Film Institute in Dhaka. Editor Mahadev Shi is a graduate of Film Institute, FTII in Pune. His acclaimed works include Shrimanto Rekha, a 2017 documentary film, Shesh Songbad, The Last News of 2016, Onuranon, which is an Indian Bengali film of 2006, and Sir, oh yes, pardon me, I forgot to mention that Sir has won National Film Award once in Bangladesh. Sir, you have won the National Film Award 10 times.
Yes. You have mentioned that.
Yes,
yes,
I'm sorry.
Mention about
yes,
them
yes,
also.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Please pardon me. Okay, speaking about the casting director and costume director, Chitralekha Guha, she has won the National Film Award of Bangladesh once and worked in a number of films with Sir. And she's a reputed actress as well. And and the chief assistant director is also a winner of National Film Award in Bangladesh.
9 times.
Oh, okay. For 9 times. I'm sorry. I got. So before we hear the opening remarks from the director himself, let me inform that we are taking online questions. This is being streamed. This press conference is being streamed in PIB India YouTube channel, and we are also taking online questions. So now over to you, sir, for the opening remarks about the film.
Thank you, Sriyanka Chakraborty, and thank you all. I thank IFFI for inviting myself and my film unit. It's an immense pleasure to be in Goa. And we are more happy because this year, as you know, that Bangladesh is the country of focus, and we thank IFFI for that. And which could have been a befitting year, because this is the 50th year of the liberation of Bangladesh, and also the 50th year of the diplomatic relations between India and Bangladesh. So we are very happy to be here, and this focus on Bangladesh. You know that 2 of our films will be shown, Quite Close the River Rupsha and the drama Jibon Dhuli. You all are most welcome to watch those films, and more or less the same unit, we have made the film few years back. That is also on the backdrop of Bangladesh Liberation War. So Rupsha Nadir Bake, you can say that this is a film about a star-crossed left-wing leader. He had all the dedications, he had all the qualities, but time was against him. He was running against a tide, and that's why, as she mentioned, that to me, myself, he was kind of a Greek tragic character, that whose fall was inevitable, but not any fault of his own. So he was killed in he participated in the Swadeshi movement against the British. He was serving poor people during the famine in 1943, tried to resist the riots in 1946-47, then the creation of Pakistan came. Then there was inhuman torture on the leftist people and progressive people during the Pakistan era. And one of the worst examples, there was jail killing, which is supposed to be the most safe place for an inmate. There in 1957, left-wing people were killed in Rajshahi jail, which is a historical fact, and he happened to be witness there. So he went through all these harrowing experiences, and then in 1971, then he was almost an old man. He was murdered by the Islamic fundamentalists, and there the film ends. So it's a biopic, but fictional biopic. Thank you very much. So now you are free to ask questions.
Before we take questions, I request the festival director, Mr. Chaitanya Prasad, for his kind remarks.
Good afternoon. I won't take much of your time, but I'll only like to say that IFFI is extremely honored and privileged to have this country focus segment from Bangladesh. This proves very auspicious for us because of the 50 years of diplomatic relations between India and Bangladesh. It also presents another facet of South Asian identity, where you have bridging of relations, you have a kind of a new collaborative network which is coming out through the medium of cinema, and most importantly that we are trying to build a bridge of excellence through cinema post-pandemic. So this is something which will go down in history, and the quality, I happened to watch the opening film for half an hour because I had something else to do. It was quite a moving film, and especially the recitation of the poem and the song in the beginning. I won't give you more secrets, but it is something that you have to watch yourself. Extremely moving. So if somebody who's not been introduced to movies from Bangladesh, I think this is a wonderful occasion to understand how filmmaking has no boundaries in terms of presenting theme, content, ideas. And I'm sure this initiative of ours will take the whole relationship of cultural integration between the two countries through the medium of cinema. Thank you very much, sir, for being here and giving us an opportunity to showcase films from Bangladesh.
Thank you very much.
So now let us open the floor for questions. And please introduce yourself before asking the question. So who will ask the first question? Yes, sir, please.
Hello? Yeah. So one thing I just want to talk about this film, this film is very much relevant for this festival also because the theme is very common, the story also very much common story of India also. And one interesting aspect of Tanvir's filmmaking, we have been working for the last 20 years together. I've edited all his films, documentary, feature films. Maybe, we have a similar kind of ideology, we believe in a certain kind of values and all. So what is interesting that Tanvir makes film about the common people, and he actually talks about the good things, what are the good things about the humanity, about the basic things about humility, people's humility, which we are forgetting, in the name of modernization, we have certain values we have slowly are just, forgetting. So Tanvir actually highlights those things. Those things are very important, even in today's context also. So I feel also very happy to work, the kind of film he makes. So that's how, we have paired up quite like, and he's the only director, that I have edited all his work. So I'm very happy that this film has got selected.
I'm also very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have an online question from a journalist in Calcutta, Shiladitya Sen from Anandabajar Putrika. The question is, the central character of your film is an ideal communist. How did he match his ideology with the liberation war of Bangladesh?
I don't see any contradiction because East Bengal, East Pakistan, during Pakistan era, was an oppressed nationality. A nation when it is suppressed and it has all the right to be emancipated, to be liberated. And if we are familiar with the literature of Lenin, he wrote volumes, even a booklet also, the rights of self-determination of the religious minorities, small ethnicities, different nationalities, and which, not only wrote, he also made it possible when they created the Soviet Union. So I don't see any contradiction between the nationalist aspirations of Bangladeshi people and the Marxist-Leninist ideas. It's going in the almost same direction. But you can say, of course, the nationalist movements are normally led by middle-class national bourgeoisie or people who are more intelligent, more well-educated. Unfortunately, farmers and workers are not that much. But there is no interest in farmers and workers or Marxist people to be part of a bourgeois state system. And it is more preferable for them to a state which is more led by a middle strata of the society who are somehow organically rooted with the soil, with the common people. And Pakistan was totally an artificial country, artificially created country. It had no root in the society, no root with the farmers and peasants of that country. So they had no interest, they had no gain out of it. And that has been proved again and again. People became poorer and more poorer. East Bengal was never a poor country. It was Sonar Bangla once, Then British and the Pakistanis, they made it so poor. So, but now if you visit Bangladesh, you'll find that, yeah, there is a lot of economic activities, even some affluence has been coming, all because the country was liberated, and everyone is beneficiary. It's not only the national bourgeois or the middle class, even the workers and farmers and the sons are benefited. So liberation of Bangladesh is a step forward towards to the achievement of the goals that workers and farmers also want in their lives.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, Your thoughts about Soumitra Chatterjee, the late Soumitra Chatterjee, an icon for both sides of Bengal.
I said he was an extraordinary person. Of course, everybody will say that he was an extraordinary artist because you've all seen his films. But I have seen the person as a human being also. We are quite close to some extent. So I think he was an artist up to his bone. It was not that suddenly Satyajit Ray discovered him for his good looks and he became a star overnight. No, there are so many people who have such good looks. But Soumitra Chatterjee is really one of. He prepared himself, he made himself, he built his all the characters. He had only one issue, and I remember once he told me, actually he told me twice, that my problem is that I can't come up with the Oppo image. But that was almost 15 years, 20 years back when I was also young. But then I later found he did so many different characters, and with the age, he so much mellowed and matured and made himself and all variegated characters he did. And those characters had nothing to do with the early Oppo image. And I told him that, no, Soumitra, you have very well come up with the Oppo Shongshar image. Now you are not a goody-goody middle-class Bengali boy anymore. You are doing all kind of roles. And you appreciate it very much. You understood it. Great. I'm so happy. I always wanted to do that. So that is my take on Satyajit Ray. And very difficult, Soumitra Ray, very difficult to talk about a person you know for 30 years. So I'm afraid I maybe not be objective enough, but to me, he's a great, great actor. And West Bengal and Bengali cinema has lost a real icon. And it's very sad. And 2020 years will always remember as a sad year of our lives. Thank you.
I'll just add something to it because I have worked with him personally. Many films. So I have edited films he has acted, many television programs. Like we have sat together, discussed a lot of times. We only know him as a film actor, but also he was also a very good theatre actor. He did a lot of plays. He in fact directed also, and he was a poet and he was a painter also. So he was a multi-talented people actually. Yeah, and also he was a very good recitator. His voice was like this. His main thing of his, very good quality of his voice. See, what is good about, I'm a very small person to talk about him, but still, what I've watched, at this age, I've seen him while he's working at the age of 70, his dedication and seriousness, even for a, new director, he's so serious about his acting, about his work, and he'll come, even before the shooting time, if there's a shooting time at 10 o'clock, call time, he'll be there at 9:30, And he'll be ready with his dialogue, everything. You don't have to probably go for a second take. He is very, very serious, even at this age. And very meticulous about the thing. He is definitely one of the best actor India has produced. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This year in IFFI, IFFI is paying homage to Soumitra Chatterjee, along with a number of stalwarts whom we have lost recently. And in connection with Soumitra Chatterjee, obviously, Satyajit Ray's name comes. So, sir, your thoughts on Satyajit Ray?
Yeah, you can tell volumes about him because we grew up watching his films from our younger days, and especially during our Film Society days. When I was too young, during the Pakistan time, it was not possible very much to watch Satyajit films. But when Bangladesh became liberated and it became possible to watch films from India. So, of course, you can imagine how enthusiastically we jumped into Satyajit Ray. And during university days, we were film society activists. We not only watched his films, we wrote about those films. We organized seminars, workshops, everything on his films. So, I think there are so many things one can say about Satyajit Ray. He was a Renaissance man. And he was a Renaissance man, and he had all the Renaissance qualities. He was a filmmaker. He was a very talented writer, both in English and Bengali. Very articulate speaker. And I've been in press conferences and abroad. I have noticed how he handles the media and anybody who comes. He's so articulate and so clear in his thought. A real Renaissance qualities. And he was a painter, a great artist as well. So how much thing you can expect from a man? He's our Bengal's Da Vinci, you can say, who could sometimes draw, make designs, make everything. So Ray, this kind of people comes once in an age, We won't get another Satyajit Ray, we won't get any other Tagore. We will get sure very good filmmakers in future also, I'm sure, but not one as Satyajit Ray as a human being. And besides, he was a great humanist. He didn't bother about much ideas, political ideas. You think that those times when you walked, 60s, 70s, were very turbulent times in Indian history all over the world. Leftist ideas became popular, then again it went down little bit to bit. And all things were happening around him. Calcutta was a very vibrant city at that time. You can imagine if you see the works of the other filmmakers of the time, you see how politically they were moved up and down all the time. But Satyajit Ray kept his calm. He watched society and life as a real artist. He went below the surface. He went deep inside. And the political waves comes and goes, but humanity remains. And he went to reach out to the core of humanity. That's why he could create a Opus trilogy. That's why he could create a Charulata. And all his films you mentioned, Kanchenjunga, brilliant films. So he was a humanist par excellence, as an artist should be. And he was an exquisitely skilled artist. Just imagine his first film, Pather Pachali, when you look back. I teach cinema now, we have a small film institute. And what films we use as text films? Of course, Satyajit Ray films. We show Pather Pachali, say shot to shot, say how accurate a filmmaking can be. Every shot is well designed. Every shot division is done on paper. A student can learn, if he just follows Satyajit Ray's method of working, he will never make any mistake in his films. But unfortunately, this is not in fashion to follow Satyajit Ray. But I'm sad about it because there are a lot of enthusiastic supporters of other filmmakers in India. No harm in that. There are a lot of enthusiasm about Satyajit Ray. That's very good. But there is not much keenness to follow him, to learn from him. And that is we, the South Asian filmmakers, have to do that. I'm talking about South Asian because the social milieu Satyajit Ray dealt with is same with us. So even his stories, his Opus Shangshar, when Opus went to, where did he went when he married? He went to Khulna, my district from Bangladesh. And so all the landscapes, the same river, Bhairab River, which little down came the name as Rupsha, which my film's name is. So we deal with the same geography, same locale, same society, same human beings. Maybe religion might be different, but that's not a big issue in the world of art. So we'll always have to get back to Satyajit Ray again. Another things I would say, so many things we can talk about him. Nature. Who portrayed nature better than Satyajit Ray? Not only in Bengali cinema, in world cinema. I can tell it I'm very positive about it. Except in Renoir. You'll never find any stalwart in world cinema who have dealt so much with nature and so beautifully presented Bengal nature, Indian nature to the world. We are very grateful to them. Through Satyajit Ray's lenses, we understood how beautiful our country is. We are not aware of that before even. So nature, his approach towards women, very progressive, very modern man. Much modern than any so-called we modern men. He looked women as a human being first, then as a woman. Most of our artists, most of our writers make a huge mistake. They make a woman as a kind of a separate category, and then make all the mistakes of, belittling her or not understanding her at all. So women are human beings first, and in cinema it is Satyajit Ray. Just imagine the characters he dealt with: Indit Thakur, Durga, Charulata, Bimola. I can say names like 20 names. Each woman is a human being first. Then she is what she is. So this is something new in Indian subculture. Because of our mythology is different, our religion, everything. We say they deal with women, something's coming from Mars or something special category, and then make all kind of mistakes. And these are all, they all are meant more or less to exploit women more, psychologically and other ways. So Satyajit Ray is a very modern man, a Renaissance man, a humanist person, and a great artist. So I think we all the time we learn from him. I also every day I learn from him as a filmmaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And as you were saying, so who other than Satyajit Ray as a filmmaker inspires you?
Globally or disappointingly?
Globally or Indian filmmaker you would like to
Globally, I won't say much because there are so many, so it will be just a long list of names. But filmmakers you are familiar with, Let me tell you, of course, Ritik Ghatak, another stalwart from our subcontinent, and we are very proud as a Bengali that we have produced two of the giants of world cinema in Bengal, Satyajit Ray and Ritik Ghatak. Two are completely with different temperaments, two kinds of artists. We always had this kind of artists, the rebel, the Ritik Ghatak, the artist with immense depth and look life more optimistically, Satyajit Ray. So these two kind of artists are always there in the world. And if you ask me, really, it might be a dream. It should be a dream for every Bengali filmmaker or any filmmaker. If I could have another actor, so 3 actors. So that solved the problem a bit. But another thing is, this kind of films, one of the challenges, of course, is research. You need a huge research of the historical events and what really happened. So not only book research, you need physical research. You have to visit those places. So, for example, where the shooting took place inside jail, how can I imagine how the jail inside was jail was? So I had to be there. I have to see how situation, how things work. So the research was a huge thing. And other things you already mentioned, the set, the props, or the dress. That is a problem. Any filmmaker who makes a period film, you all know what is period film is, the time which is past. So that they have to, any unit has to do it. I am very grateful that we have two excellent person, the couple. Chitralekha Guha looks after that dress. So all the which 30s, what kind of dresses were used to be used in 40s, 50s, 70s, the women dresses, men dresses. And which class of people you are talking about? Middle class use one kind of dresses, the working people, farmers, peasants use another kind of. Then Uttam Guho, our art director, he is very good in making sets and props. Normally we avoid set making. One is that budget. We don't have enough money to make. These are very low budget productions, almost shoestring budget productions. So we cannot afford to make huge sets. Simply we cannot afford. And other, I don't believe in sets also, because whatever well made, we are not gods. So there is always some artificiality there. You can feel it in the pattern of the texture of the walls or the lighting. So it's very difficult to imitate God or make world like God himself. So I rather prefer outdoor shooting, nature. So this is mostly shot in outdoor. Very rare we used indoor. And props, another challenge. All the props, film with everything, glass, these and that, cycles. So that you have to research and find what kind of utensils people used during those days. That requires some research, but it's possible. All filmmakers do it, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. So with this, the press conference comes to an end. Thank you, sir. Thanks, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. By the way, I think you didn't ask anything about Bangladeshi cinema, or you're not interested, or
Oh yes,
Indo
we would
Bangla,
love to know,
huh?
sir. Sir, please say.
Because
Can I just say one thing, sir?
yeah.
I think we were lost in your master class of Satyajit Ray and his work. No, it was absolutely marvelous, if I can say. It was, everyone heard it with rapt attention. How you took us into your journey with Satyajit Ray, Sumitra Chatterjee, it was amazing. And I can say that for everyone. I hope everyone agrees. No, the way it was like, it was emotion and content being woven together to present a man who no time or scale can match. As you rightly said, there is no Satyajit Ray, there can be no Sumitra Chatterjee. So it was like reliving those moments live. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The movie they have to enjoy, to go and see it themselves. That's what I said.
Good afternoon, everybody.
asking me to just, hello, it's there now. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm extremely sorry for the delay that we had, but this is one of the first press conferences that is happening, and we're just waiting for all the jury members to come here, and that's how we got a little delayed. Apologies on my part. So just to begin, welcome to all of you to the 51st edition of the IFFI, which, as we all know, is happening in the hybrid format. Even as we are sitting now, this program is not even being is also being witnessed by all of you, but also being telecast live virtually. So today we have the acclaimed jury of the Indian Panorama with us, and Indian Panorama, as you know, is one of the most watched section in India at the IFFI. So we have Mr. John Matthew Mathang. He is the chairperson of the Indian Panorama Feature Films. And we have Paban Kapoor, the chairman of the Indian Panorama non-feature film categories. And Jadumani Datta, another celebrated member of the jury, who is also sitting with us. And we have the other jury members who are sitting here in the first row amongst the audience. And I'm going to name all of them now. So just to introduce, to start with it, that the feature film jury consists of about 12 members and is headed, as I told you, by the filmmaker, screenwriter, and producer John Matthew Mathang, who's sitting on the dais with me. And he's a filmmaker. Everybody knows that for his 1919 Bollywood film, Sarfarosh. And he started his career as an assistant director on the epic movie Gandhi, which was directed by Sir Richard Attenborough. And he has also some popular feature films to his credit. And the other feature jury members are Dominic Sangama, Jadumani Datta, he's here with us, Kala Master, Kumar Sohani, Rama Vij, I can see ma'am, Rama Murthy, Sangamitra Chaudhary, Sanjay Puran Singh Chauhan, Satyendra Mohan, Sudhakar Vasanta, T. Prasanna Kumar, and U. Radhakrishnan. So that was the list of the jury of the feature film section. And now we have the jury of the non-feature film section, which is headed by the documentary filmmaker, a very, very celebrated documentary filmmaker from Manipur, Mr. Paban Kumar. Northeast is very close to my heart. I've stayed in Northeast for about 3 years. So he's the chairperson of the Indian Panorama non-feature film section of the 51st IFFI. Kumar's film and documentaries have been screened in several places across the globe. And his debut feature film, Lady of the Lake, won the National Film Award for Best Film on Environment Conservation, which is such an important topic for us all over the world, during the 64th National Awards 2016. He has also won the German Star of India at the 14th Indian Film Festival in Stuttgart, Germany for his film in 2017. And Kumar's documentary in 2006 was one of the highly critical and widely acclaimed film. His other films include The First Leap, Mr. India, Ruptured Spring, and the list goes on. So the jury in the non-feature film category has another 6 members. So they are Atul Gangawar, director, screenwriter, and producer, and Mr. J. Badosa, Mr. Mandar Talulikar, filmmaker, Sri Sajan Babu, Sri Satish Pandey, and Vaijayanti Apte. Ma'am, I can't see you. Yeah, okay. And we have Jadumani Datta also on the stage. He's one of the jury members of the Indian Panorama. He's an ace filmmaker. He doesn't need any introduction, but still, he's also an actor, I believe. You worked in Bengali films, is that correct? And he's made the film Pani, for which he acted and wrote the script too. And his film, Pani, was featured at the 13th Dhaka International Film Festival in 2014. So this time, Bangladesh is our focus country and a friendly country. And so I'm so happy that you're here with us and on the dais too. So the jury members will tell us about the selected films of the Indian Panorama. And just to give you a little brief, Indian Panorama Feature Film Jury selected 20 feature films and 20 non-feature films in different languages in India. 3 mainstream feature films have been selected under the Indian Panorama section of the 51st International Film Festival of India by an internal committee of the DFF based on the recommendations of the Films Federation of India and Producers Guild. So these 3 films are Asuran in Tamil, directed by Vetri Maran, and Kapila in Malayalam, directed by Muhammad Mustafa, and Chichore by Nitesh Tiwari. Chichore, as you're all aware, had Sushant Singh Rajput in the lead role. And the jury's choice for the opening feature film of the Indian Panorama 2020 is the film Saad Ki Aankh, a film very close to my heart because it shows the women power in all its glory. And now it is over to the jury, starting with Mr. John Matthew Matten, Chairperson, Feature Films, to give his opening remarks, please.
Yeah. Hello. I think one should start by thanking the Government of India and the DFF for holding this event in this kind of pandemic crisis that we are undergoing. And I think this has been said, but the jury that we had this year for the Panorama was excellent, and they did a very good job in selecting these films. Each jury, there were 180 films, and it was divided into 45 films, with each panel consisting of 3 members. And they had to choose 15 films. Then we sat and saw 60 films together, all of us. And this was an enormous task. And I'm grateful to all of them for having invested their time and given these results, which I must say I'm very proud of the fact that there was no, it was a very democratic process, and it was unanimous in most cases. There was no dispute of any kind, and one was very happy with the results. So I hope people enjoy this section, and I'm grateful to everybody, including the DFF, for putting this up, and the government and the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So now I can request Mr. Pavan Kapoor, the chairperson of the non-feature films, to address us.
Pavan Kumar, actually. Hi everyone. I will also like to congratulate Ministry of INB, NFDC, DFF Films Division for organizing this, historic 51st International Film Festival of India during these difficult times, and keeping cinema alive. Actually, it's very important for us, and I hope I wish it all the best for this festival. For the non-feature section, actually we had around 143 films, and we selected 20 films. And I don't know. I mean, I've been part of many juries, but this was one of the best people. All the jury members, everything was so cool. I mean, I didn't knew. I mean, when we finished the screening, 143 films, and we never felt exhausted.
Okay.
By the end
That
of the
was
day,
wonderful.
we used to watch around 20 movies a day, more than 20 movies a day, and it was so fun working with all of them. And and only thing we had, we felt was strongly what we felt was documentary was missing. It was more non-feature. The short films were more, and unfortunately, I don't know, very few documentaries came for the. So when you see the list, but we try to kind of bring a balance. Even in the documentary thing also, because documentaries are also a very important part of it. And what we unanimously felt was, the term non-feature, if it can be changed into documentary and short films, because a lot of the documentaries, whatever documentaries we had, it was more than 100 minutes. Some of them were like more than 100 minutes long. So technically, if you see it, it's a feature-length documentary. So we thought that if we have requested the DFF to maybe, in future, if they can change the term to documentary and short films. We just had the screening opening film just now, and I hope you will enjoy the other films as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. And now I invite Mr. Datta to give a few words.
First of all, thank you, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, for selecting me as a jury member for the third time to Indian Panorama and once for National Film Awards. I would congratulate my co-juries for helping in between us to make a best of the decision to select the best films of Indian Panorama, the 20 films which we have selected, and under the leadership of our chairman, John sir. So everything went very smoothly during our selection process, and it was in the time of pandemic when Ministry of Information called me to come as a jury this time. I was very much afraid to come to the jury members in Delhi. But it was very much comfortable in our place in Delhi, which I felt. And so I would thank to DFF also for giving such an opportunity to us. Thanks to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Datta, for those words, and thank you for appreciating the efforts of the Government of India and DFF in organizing the film festival. And now I also invite questions from the media, if we have some of them.
I have a question for both the chairmen.
Please identify yourself as well.
I am Ramnath Pai from Navin Times, the local daily.
Okay.
I think I need a mic here.
It's okay. You can use the mic so that people at the back can hear.
Actually, okay, the question is because during the pandemic, the filmmaking, both the feature films and the short films, was reduced. Actually, it has come to a halt. Did you have to fall back on the old films like those produced in 2019? Or there were some recent films too?
The selection for this has been done by the DFF. Okay, we was told they are within the time frame, and the DFF will give you the exact information needed. So we did not have a choice in the selection of the films. We had a choice in the selection of the 20 films that are going to be screened. But the films that came, they are under certain regulations, which is the Government of India, as per the Directorate of Film Festivals, and they will give you the details.
I think whatever was made, it comes under a certain guidelines. There is a certain period which has to be, like maybe from August 31st to next year, August 3rd, September 1st or something like that. So during those period, whatever films comes, those films were qualified for the thing, for the Indian Panorama. And also it depends on the people sending. I think maybe if you look at the data, maybe, the films might be less. But I think, whatever it is, it's the best of Indian cinema this year, whatever it is,
So as Mr. Pavan Kumar says, it's the best of the Indian cinema, which was kind of, it was displayed for them to see, and finally they shortlisted 20 in the feature film category and the 20 in non-feature film category. Any other question that can have? Please identify yourself.
Very good afternoon. This is Ajay from Bangalore. Just I wanted to compliment the jury because this is the first time we don't hear any complaints from the filmmakers who could not make it. So just I wanted to congratulate and compliment you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ajay. Any other question that we have? So there were a few questions which came online to us. If you permit, then we can ask. The first question to you, Mr. Kumar, as to You had about 143 films, they said. So a large number of films were there in the non-feature film category. So how could you kind of shortlist, and what was the criteria in shortlisting different films in different languages? How did you go about doing it?
See, it's as I said earlier, it's all about choosing the best of Indian cinema. So, I think rather it was, it's not like I've been part of national awards jury. You have certain categories, but what is interesting about Indian Panorama is you have to choose the best of the films. So, the best films always stands out. So, we have our internal marking system and all, how we deal with it. But it was all about choosing the best of Indian cinema and best of out of 143 films. So I think it easily, it stands out easily. So I think it was not that difficult that way, like national awards where you have different categories. But yeah, but we, as I said earlier, we thought there should have been more documentaries because I personally, I really want more documentaries to come.
A supplementary from my side, this is not from the online, but did you see that the nature of the non-film categories, and the kind of filmmakers which are participating, has that genre grown much more than what you have been into filmmaking for a long time?
Yeah, I can see a lot of young filmmakers, especially very few. I think very few. Senior filmmakers were there, but I think lot of young filmmakers are also. I think more than 60, 70 people were very new filmmakers. Who had applied with their films. But some of the senior filmmakers were there. Rakesh Sharmaji his film was there. Ahimsa, if I remember, Ahimsa was there. It's a very good film. Ramesh Sharmaji. Then Faraz's film is also there. Yeah, but we were very happy that a lot of young filmmakers are coming.
So more than 50% you
Yeah,
said that were from young filmmakers.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but but we see a lot of young faces. Even the opening film is a very good, moving and very cinematic film, and it's done by a young filmmaker.
Another question for you, Mr. John Matthew. Your choice for the opening film. What made you choose this particular film, Saar Ki Aankh?
I didn't choose. The jury chose.
The jury, I mean, you're representing the jury, sir.
Yeah, but that's what I said. We didn't have any disputes because it was up to the jury.
Yeah.
And I think it best represents the democracy that we have in this country. They chose. I just sat there and said, okay. I did not have to do much. The jury did all the work.
Okay, so what was the jury's view in deciding the film?
I think they chose the film for reasons. Each one may have a reason of his own why they chose the film. I did not ask anybody why they chose, but majority of them chose that film.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Sorry?
Yes.
One of the jury persons.
Yes.
If I represent and if I can comment on this film.
Please.
He is chairman.
Yeah.
So he said that whatever jury has decided, I didn't interfere and I went with them. So I'm telling you what jury thought about this film. This film has got a number of aspects in the film which touched the heart of the jury. First is the theme of the film itself, that a village where a woman is not supposed to go out of the home. So much restriction is there. And those women above the age of 60, which are seasoned, not to go out of their home at all. They go out of the home and win about 350 medals. So it's a great achievement, a great encouragement for not only the villagers, a village woman, but even for the women, those who are sitting in the in a city and a urban population. Secondly, the filmmaking part itself was so good. As you see the music of the film, the cinematography of the film, and the total editing and the script. So technically also, this film was a very beautiful film. At the end of the film, when the last shot, there is a dance, and the dance of rejoicement of the entire family, in which had initial differences. At the end, they are together, and the director has done a very beautiful thing. At the end, he has brought the actual dadis and being a part of the of the system, and the movie ends with a very positive and a dancing mode.
Thank you so much, sir. Ma'am Rama, you wanted to say
I
something.
told you that I had a very good jury. Because this particular aspect, there are various things in the film to be praised. One is, I like the idea of the so-called stars in the film working on a film like this. They took a lot of effort, and some people had some comments like they don't look old enough at 60. Today, women at 60 don't look 60; they look younger, all of them. So the makeup was not a big criteria, So and there are various aspects to the film which are realistic and a lot of things to be praised. And I was very happy that the film was chosen, but I didn't want to express myself so much because I had a jury that did it openly. So thank you.
Ma'am, you wanted to speak something about women empowerment. Would you like to add?
Why I selected, I said it's a women's empowerment. That's the first thing.
Fantastic.
It's a quite an encouraging film for the women and in the sports. And the ladies who did the part, and they actually did it in their real life. And I think that was a pretty good job. So that was a story itself was quite interesting and motivated. And that's
बिल्कुल
it.
सही कहा,
Yeah,
बिल्कुल सही
that's,
कहा.
yeah, so that was the beauty of it, actually. That was the beauty. Rest of the things, he said it all.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
कला मास्टर आप प्लीज बोलिए थोड़ा सा बोलिए. संगमित्रा जी आप भी बोलिए कुछ प्लीज. Certainly, when you
Yes.
have a women anchor.
This is women empowerment. So this was a great time we had watching movies and watching different type of movies and from different corners of India. And Shan Ki Aag is one of the films where which portrayed the parda system. Like still women were behind the parda and they were not allowed to speak in the family. Even they were the workers. They were whole day they were working, and after that they were not treated properly. And finally these dadis and they came out to help the young group. So it's definitely something very, very encouraging for the society. And even I know in different parts of India still this kind of an environment is there. And that's why the film was appreciated a lot. There were other films too, like we have selected some of the films which are very, very contemporary, and the ideas are great, and making, especially the newcomers, the debutant directors have done a wonderful job. And filmmaking is something which needs a lot of passion, and that passion has been portrayed in the films. And I believe that all the viewers who come and they'll watch the films and they'll enjoy as much as we did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sangamitra ji. Would you like to also add, Kala Master ji? Thoda boliye, please.
Yeah. It's a really very good movie. It's a ladies' subject. I love this movie, and camera, technician, all technicians and new directors and actors, and everything is really fantastic movie for women.
Thank you so much. जादूमणि जी हमारे साथ स्टेज पे हैं. आप भी जूरी मेंबर थे इस फिल्म के लिए.
Actually, the film was selected democratically, so everybody liked the film. I too liked the effort of the film.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions?
That's the major.
So when it comes to women, it's always unanimous. Yeah.
Can you tell, maybe Atulji might can say something about the non-features?
Okay, please, Atul ji, कुछ हमें non-feature film के बारे में बताइए. The selection that you had for the opening film.
कई बार क्या होता है कि कुछ विषय ऐसे होते हैं कि जो बिल्कुल सहज रूप से स्वीकार्य होते हैं, और मुझे लगता है कि हम लोग जब जूरी में बैठे थे तो अपरिचित से लोग थे, लेकिन हम सबकी एक समझ सबकी बराबर थी सिनेमा के बारे में. हम लोग उसमें सब एक मत थे कि कैसी फिल्में सेलेक्ट करनी है, किस तरीके के विषय होने हैं। और जैसा पवन जी ने कहा भी कि जो फिल्में सेलेक्ट हुई हैं वो अलग से पहले से ही दिख रही थी कि वो आगे जा सकती हैं। और ओपनिंग फिल्म जो है उसकी जो सादगी थी, सिंप्लिसिटी, और एक जिस तरीके से उसका फिल्मांकन था और जिस तरीके से उसका विषय का चयन था, तो मुझे लगता है कि हम सभी सातों लोगों ने उसके बारे में कोई दूसरा थॉट था ही नहीं कि ओपनिंग फिल्म कौन सी होगी। तो इस तरीके से चयन हुआ, एक बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा और सिनेमा ने हम सबको साथ लेकर आया। और मुझे लगता है कि जो आप लोग जब ये फिल्में देखेंगे, दर्शक देखेंगे, तो कहीं ना कहीं उन फिल्मकारों की मेहनत भी आपको दिखेगी और आपको अच्छा लगेगा, ऐसा मेरा मानना है। थैंक यू।
सुरेश जी।
Suresh ji, please.
Satish Pandey. It was a very good experience. I was there for 5 years as a preview committee, but first time this experience was as a panorama. And within few days, the whole 7 of us are a family together. और हम आगे देखते थे यार ये अच्छी फिल्म, कोई अच्छी फिल्म आ जाए, आज 2-3 फिल्में देखी, चौथी फिल्म अच्छी आ जाएगी। तो मतलब भूखे थे हम लोग अच्छी फिल्म देखने के लिए, और बहुत सारी फिल्में हमें अच्छी देखने को मिली और बहुत मज़ा आया इस बारी। टुगेदरनेस, वी रियली वर्कड हार्ड टुगेदर। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much. Any more questions, or should I conclude? So, best of the Indian cinema, the Indian panorama, and we are extremely grateful for all of you to be here. Indian films, it unites us together, it bonds us together. There is so much of amalgamation of the brilliance, the acting, the language, the cinematography, and everything which unites India in whatever diversity we have. It's all brilliantly displayed in the films that we have. Thank you so much, jury members, and thank you for being here and talking to us and talking to your audience. Thank you, and best wishes for IFFI. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry once again for the delay, but that's how it happens. Now, can I invite Mr. Ankit and Mr. Tushar Hiranandani and the producer of Saand Ki Aankh, the Reliance Group's Group CEO, Subhash Sarkar. This is you, yeah. I've kept the teams together. Okay. We'll share it.
Yes, no problem.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so delighted to have Mr. Tushar Hiranandani and Ankit Kothari and Subhash Sarkar, and of course Shreya Kaparia, who's also the producer of this short film, Panchika, which has been selected under the non-feature film category. So I'll first start with the popular category, Saand Ki Aankh, which is absolutely, I was kind of so touched. It was a phenomenal film, at least from a woman's point of view. And I really thought that not only my daughter, but my son should also see that film and realize how important it is for women to kind of come of age, and that women can come off at any age. That was a remarkable story that you gave it to us. Thank you for presenting Chandru and Prakashi Tomar, the sharpshooter dadis, in the screen format, and you virtually changed our perspective towards so many things. Thank you for that, Tushar. So, Saand Ki Aankh was the opening film for the Indian Panorama. It was selected for that. And we all know the film, but very briefly, of course, we have Tushar to tell us the story in much more detail. I am not the right person, but still I'm taking this opportunity. Shaan Ki Aankh is a story of grandmother duo. We all know about the Chandru and Prakashi Tomar sharpshooter dadis from this small village who joined a local shooting range to encourage their daughters and won 352 medals each as sharpshooters post 60. That was remarkable. And director Tushar Hiranandani is a film director and screenplay writer who brought these two women, the iconic women, I would say, alive to us. This is a story which we were all aware of, but he told us so beautifully that it kind of became etched in my heart and my life too. And Tushar's, of course, this was Shaan Ki Aankh was his directorial debut, but before that he's worked in popular films like Ek Villain and ABCD, and again both were remarkable and wonderful films full of energy. That is what I would say. ABCD, of course, was so close to a lot of younger generation. And this film was produced by the Reliance Group, and Subhashit Sarkar, the group CEO, the content and digital game CEO head, is here with us and is sharing the dais. And now I would also like to speak about Panchika. So there were about 143 films which were in the non-feature film group, and today the jury was here with us in the morning, and they said this film came out so beautifully, and it was selected amongst those 143 films, only 20 non-feature films which have been selected, and Panchika was selected as one of the opening films too. So congratulations for that, Ankit. I can see such a young and a very, very bright, intelligent. I could just feel that in that one small meeting that we had here. So Panchika is a story which hits very, very hard at the caste-based system in the society, and which prevents two children from different castes to come together. Yet, you know, friendship doesn't know any bond. It doesn't know any religion. It doesn't know any caste. It doesn't know any boundaries. And the way the two girls got together, it's a beautiful tale of friendship which Ankit has woven and which he's going to relate to you after this. So about Ankit, he's worked in advertising agencies, and he's assisted in films like Tumpad, Shanghai, and Oi Lucky Lucky Oi. Is that correct? And I would also like to add that Panchika is a very, very short film, just 14-minute film. And here is a young director of that film, just 36-year-old. And this film has been selected for the in the non-feature film category and as the opening film. And the producer is Shreya Kapadia. I can see another young lady entrepreneur, another woman entrepreneur who has backed Ankit in producing this beautiful film. So I would first like to begin with Ankit, Tushar, with your permission. So would you like to tell us your journey about this film, Panchika, and why did you name the film as Panchika?
Panchika is a game of 5 pebbles where as you suspend one pebble in air and you clap it. That's what a lot of us have played in our childhood. And that just seemed like an interesting symbol and title to tell a tale of friendship where they suspend their friendship while they have to do what the society tells them to do, which is clap or agree to what has been told to them. And it is this friendship that is suspended in the whole film that made me interested in a story like this. It's a short story written by Venkatesh Madgulkar, a very renowned Marathi writer back in the 50s. And I just felt that adapting it into my landscape and language, which is Gujarat and the little run of Kutch, and telling a story of friendship in my world would be an interesting way. Even though it's a short film, I had so much to say, and I felt that the symbols and metaphors that I could use against such a story and such landscape of salt pyramids was something that really excited me for 2 years of this journey.
Thank you so much, Ankit. Now can I ask Tushar Hiranandani of Saad Ki Aankh fame to speak about his film and about his journey?
So basically, like you said, I've written a lot of films, Hindi films, and I always wanted to become a director. So I must tell you that I'm also a young director. I'm at age of 45, and I wanted to retire at 50. And I thought I was already working in a job. I used to work for Balaji. My wife was working for Dharma Production, who's also the producer of the film. And we both had a comfortable job. And I always wanted to become a director, but I never became a director. I was writing, like we always say in our industry, Hindi film industry, जब चलती हुई गाड़ी चलती है, bonnet नहीं खोलना चाहिए. So I didn't want to become a director. I said, चल रहा है, चलने दो. And I had this thing that I want to retire at 50 and get into this farming and agriculture and shift from Bombay, hustle bustle, go to some small city and live over there. And when I saw this show on Satyam Mein Jayate, Amir Khan show, and I saw it's not about the ladies that per se people say that it's a women-oriented film. For me, it was much about people who started their lives at 60. These two women who started their entire lives, restarted their entire lives for their daughters. At 60, they took up the sport shooting, which is so tough. Basically, people at 60, you can't even see. People say 40 के बाद आदमी अंधा हो जाता है. ये तो औरतें अंधे नहीं, became better. They started shooting. So at 60, they started the sport, and I thought at 50, I want to retire. Just imagine 60, they have started shooting. So what I wanted to do, I didn't do. So let me make this film. I want to make a film in my life. I always want to become a director. Let me chase my dreams. And then I started it. We had a lot of problems. It took me 5 years to make this film. But this man who's sitting next to me never left our side. He kept on pushing us, kept on trying. And there were lots of moments that we thought, every day there was a new twist in our tale. Our screenplay, both before making the film, we had a bigger screenplay while making the film. So there was every day there was some twist, and then somehow we started it. And once we started it, we knew we had something special. And by the time we released it, we were all very happy. I'm sure he was also very proud. All of us who are part of this film, from the spot boy to the actor, is still everyone messages me and they want to be a part of my next film because they were so happy working on this kind of film. So that's the journey of this film.
I'm so proud to be sharing my dais with both the star directors and such young directors. And life is still young at 60.
Is the key, yeah.
Young is the key. Life is still young at 60. So, Mr. Subhashi Sarkar, would you like to say why did you back this film? A few words to our audience.
So, let me tell you something. I didn't back the film. I backed Tushar. So Tushar came before, the film came later. It is better to be candid because after a film works well and it becomes successful, you can always take a position that I love the script and love the content. No, I love Tushar. And when Tushar came with a story, and as Tushar said that it was a long journey, it was like 4 or 5 years journey and etc. But you know, once we get ingrained into the story and once Tushar shares us this thing, we figured out that, see, as a company, as an organization, Reliance Entertainment make various kind of films. We make commercial films, we make films for making money. Of course, that is our business at the end of the day. But sometimes some stories will really push you to, will really make you feel that apart from doing whatever you are doing, there are certain stories which you need to back. For us, this film is somewhere, like I was mentioning some time back, is that it's a celebration of human spirit. It is not it's a celebration of human values. It's how it shows that at the age of, at such an age, people, in spite of every kind of impediment, if you guys have seen the film, like whether it's a small village in UP with a social system, caste system, patriarchy, and it is not that those impediments are only for these two individuals. That was the society. But in spite of that, the two sister-in-laws, they were not even sisters, they bonded and they figured out and they thought that they have to do something for the next generation, and went on to become, I mean, like in history. And when I remember when I met them, because Tushar took us and went, now probably they're 80 or 85, Tushar. 85. Even if you meet them, the kind of fire what they have in there and the spirit, that's why probably some people become successful. And I mean, my participation in this journey, that I only followed the vision of a director. Credit to Tushar and Nidhi, who are the director and the producer actually in All Spirit, who gave this little gem to us. But of course, a lot of people like Anurag Kashyap played a lot of role in putting together this film in a later date. Our cast like Bhumi, Tapsi, Vineet, Saad, there are a lot. I mean, films, as I'm saying, films does not happen by few people. It's a collaboration of a lot of people together. And we are really indebted to Tushar as well as the team that they have given us such a gem of a story.
Thank you
That's
so
the-
much. Thank you so much, Shubhashit. Shreya Kapadia is not on the dais, but would you like to speak a few words because you're also a young entrepreneur to that sense? Can we give the mic to her, please? Thank you, Shreya.
You'll have to face them.
Yeah, it's my
Camera.
first time.
Yeah, it's okay. Get used to it.
Yeah, so I also happen to be the wife of the director. But when he told me and he narrated me the script, the first thing I really liked about the movie was the innocence of the friendship between these two girls. Even if there's a casteism or so much of biasness happening into that in that families and in particular community. And when we went there, the harshness of the area and the people when we met there, we could see that, we could relate that, we could relate it with the story, we could relate it in real life. So that touched us a lot, and it's the fact that we have shown, and that was something which was very important for us to narrate.
I think by harshness, you'll have to tell them what's the harshness, because not everybody.
The harshness of their life, their struggles, of their living. That's why there's this casteism. They have a very stern thinking process, stern life.
Yeah. And also the location. It's a salt farming village. So it's at the edge of the little run of Kutch, and for 8 months they go into the desert, and that's where they make the salt, and all of this salt comes and is put up in pyramids. So there are like these hundreds of pyramids, and the village has these hundreds of pyramids. It's a very dystopian space because we see snow as white in color when we see it on the ground, but this was seeing a lot of salt crystals on the ground. And our story was on innocence, and we were looking for a location which would be completely opposite to that to enhance this innocence. And that's why we took this salt village where just between hundreds of salt pyramids there are just 2 7-year-old girls who are on a journey, and without a lot of dialogue you feel the disparity of the emotions that they have and what the society wants them to do or behave.
I would just want to add one thing is when we were looking out for the girls, these 2 girls are from 2 different villages, but somehow the parents were not agreeing for them to work together. They agreed only when they came to know that they both come from the same community. That's how their parents agreed for the girls to work together. So it's the fact of the life.
Some of you, if you haven't seen it, you must. It's beautifully presented. It's sometimes heart-stirring, heart-rendering both. You must see some of the film clips, like where she walks barefooted, and then the little girl gives her shoe, and chappal or slipper, whatever. It's a beautifully portrayed emotion. Thank you so much. Now I open the floor for questions, if there are any. Actually, even before you ask, can I ask a question with the permission? Your first reaction when it was told to you that your film is going to open the Indian Panorama in the non-feature film category. Your first reaction?
इतना तो अच्छा expect नहीं किया था. But yeah, I got a phone call from last year. Helaro was a Gujarati film. I got a phone call from one of the producers, and he said, "Congratulations, your film is selected for IFFI." And I was like, "हाँ, चलो कुछ तो मतलब अब दिखेगी कोई theater में." That was my first reaction, that I'll get to see my own film. And then he said opening film, and I said, "No, I'll have to check this. This just seems too bizarre achievement."
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
Saad Ki Aankh was already a commercial success, Tushar, but still, your first reaction when it was chosen for IFFI, for the opening film?
See, if you want me to be honest?
Yes.
I thought Goa. Simple. In this corona time, I've just got a 10-month-old baby. With this, we sat, actually my wife and I have not traveled for 2 years because she was pregnant during the filming, everything. And then we got a chance to do a holiday. So I've actually come for a holiday. But yes, this is really very important. But to be honest, great holiday too.
Candid admission there by Tushar. Wonderful. Now, please, you wanted to ask a question. I'm so sorry.
इट्स ओके तुषार सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे है. आपने कहा कि बहुत सारे एक्टर और एक्ट्रेस आपको अभी कॉल कर रहे हैं कि आपका नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट क्या होगा. सो वी वांट्स टू आल्सो नो.
कोई कॉल नहीं कर रहा मैडम, मैं कर रहा हूँ सबको, आज भी कोई कॉल नहीं कर रहा.
नहीं, आपने अभी कहा कि यू आर वर्किंग ऑन योर नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट. सो आपका नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट क्या है इसके बारे में?
अभी तक बायोपिक है, लिख रहा हूँ, कुछ हुआ नहीं अभी तक, सब लिख रहा हूँ, राइटिंग स्टेज पे है सब.
ओके, सब्जेक्ट क्या है सर?
वही बायोपिक है. नेक्स्ट मैं बायोपिक्स ही बनाते रहूँगा लाइफ भर. बेसिकली बायोपिक्स इज माय, बोलते हैं कि एक जॉनरा है मेरे को जो बहुत अच्छा लगता है, बिकॉज आई थिंक लाइफ हैज सो मेनी स्टोरीज, स्पेशली इन इंडिया देयर आर सो मेनी हिडन स्टोरीज. लाइक शी सेड दैट Chandru and Prakashi were known, they were not known, to be honest, not even in Meerut anyone knew them. When I went there, no one knew. So my whole thing was that when I make this movie, I hope they will be noticed. In fact, they were given the Women of the Year in Russia, but people in their own village never give them anything. So that's the thing. So I want to make stories in biopics about such unknown people who need to be known.
Okay, thank you sir.
Thank you.
Sand Ki Aankh is a feminist film. And in Bollywood, it is very hard to get producers or financiers for such films. As distributors doesn't show interest, in buying or releasing such films. So what is your take on this?
सर इसलिए बाजू में जो बैठे हमारे जो है, इन्होंने, आप बोल रहे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर नहीं मिलते, इन्होंने मेरी पिक्चर दिवाली में रिलीज की, जो सबसे बड़ा दिन होता है डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए. So you should understand where this man has taken me. तो एक डेब्यू, दैट आई वाज सेइंग टू हिम आल्सो, दैट डेब्यू डायरेक्टर के लिए, और सब बोलते हैं एक्टर जरूरी होता है, स्क्रिप्ट जरूरी होता है, मेरे हिसाब से प्रोड्यूसर जरूरी होता है, हु कैन मेक योर फिल्म एंड रिलीज द फिल्म. इसलिए जो इसने कहा अभी कि आई एम सो हैप्पी दैट रिलीज हो गई मेरी पिक्चर कोई थिएटर में, उससे बड़ा फीलिंग डायरेक्टर के लिए और कोई हो ही नहीं सकता. जब आप अपनी पहली पिक्चर थिएटर में ऑडियंस के साथ देखो ना, उससे बेटर कोई फीलिंग, कोई अवार्ड उससे बेटर नहीं हो सकता. सो दैट इज द मेन अवार्ड. सो दिस इज ऑल थैंक्स टू देम. तो रिलायंस, वंस रिलायंस केम इन, वी वर रेस्ट अश्योर्ड एंड दे गेव मी दिवाली रिलीज. उससे बड़ा रिलीज तो हो ही नहीं सकता था.
So do you think that this will be a new beginning for such type of films?
I hope so. पता नहीं, I hope so. It should be. We did it. I don't know other people will do it or no. But I hope so.
Do we have more questions from the press? If not, I'm going to ask Ankit one question. Now, this is not only a tale of friendship that you've woven it into a tale of friendship, but it is actually a kind of a sad commentary on the kind of caste system that we have. So what was your experience and how did you kind of convince those two little girls to act out the role? I know you have very little dialogues in the film, very few, you also said it. But how did you let the two girls play it out? Here, they're two little girls and they're two young girls at 60.
I think we all value women a lot, that we are making stories around them. And they are the ones because of which our stories are being made. But so the girls are from that terrain. We auditioned 300 of them, went to different villages and selected 2 girls. And interestingly, just 2 days before the shoot, when everything is ready, the producer, the team, the ADs have kept everything, it's just the rehearsal. And it's that time is when the director has to do his job. He just has to direct the story and the actors so that everybody can do it. And I have to admit that I couldn't do it that day, and I really felt that ye nahi hone wala bhaiya. You can't get 2 7-year-old girls from a village that you are not of, that your language or your lehka is not from. And if you tell them to emote emotion, it was just not happening. I thought maybe this is an animation film because you can't get this age to act. And somehow, fortunately, I got this idea of teaching them how to read an analog wristwatch. So I made my team stand at each R12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 12 crew members standing, and in the center it was me with the girls. And I told the girls to walk towards 12 o'clock. But I told them that keep your neck at 3 o'clock, but your eyes at 5 o'clock. And that's how I broke down the whole film, all scenes, each shot, because it was majorly a short silent film. And they did not have to be cute or chirpy or happy, which typically child actors have. And when I auditioned city children, they were very confident with their auditions and holding that slate and all of that. but I wanted that inherent shyness and wanted a certain fear. So I used to stand on those salt mountains, and from top of there, on top of my voice, I used to shout these directions, which a seasoned actor would never like, because I've assisted in a lot of films, you don't give instructions like these. But with children, I realized that there are no incapable children, there are only incapable directors. So I was fighting that. And I used to be the bad cop, instilling fear and giving them a lot of instructions and being the bully on set to them. And my producer Shreya was the good person. After the shoot, a shot was over, we would give them, like, we had a car which had a dicky, open bar of snacks and cold drinks and music. So they would use to party till we set up the shot. And then again, I would bully them. So that's 20 days, 2 days of us doing it for 3 hours in top sun to tell what I wanted.
Tushar, if I can talk about Saad Ki Aankh, here also, like you said, this was not about the women, but it was life at 60, that life begins. It can begin at any age, and this is what your film narrated as well. But you also simultaneously very beautifully brought out many of the issues faced by women, whether it was a voluntary thing or an involuntary thing, but many of the things came out, even between the men and women relationship, or even when it comes to how the girl child is being brought up, or even as to how safe women are or not. How did you weave that kind of a thing? Because those things also became the focus, and that's how people think of this film as a women-centric film. But no, I understand what you're saying.
So that credit actually you should give to my writers, Jagdeep Singh Sidhu and Balwinder Janjwa, who, see, I'll tell you, we started off writing this film because obviously there was a story in front of me because it's a biopic, and we contored the journey. And while writing it, we had written a draft which was where there was, where if daughters were born, and you know what they do in daughters are born over there. So I just thought that this is not the kind of film I want to make here, because that's not the film I've written. You can see I don't write this kind of film. How will I will not be able to shoot it. So the whole tone that we caught of the film was, let's have it in a fun way. Even if there's any issue, we've done it in a funny manner, so that, or in a commercial, dramatic manner. So that was the thing of this writing that set the tone. And then everyone found that fresh. That's why you're liking it. Otherwise it's going to become preachy. But that was the fresh take of it. That's why people enjoyed it and liked it. And another thing I'll tell you, so like he was saying that they went to Gujarat. So let me tell you this film was shot exactly where the Dadi stay, the next house. It was actually supposed to be shot in Y. And you should know that this is a women-centric film. There's not too much of a budget because it's not a hero per se. So that's where this Reliance comes in, and they supported me. And I said, no, I want to shoot it in the Johri village only, next to the house, because for only one reason, that my entire crew gets to see the Dadis every day. So the entire crew also knows that what film we are making. It's not just a story about someone. So they used to see the Dadis every day and get so inspired. So any person on the set once saw those Dadis were inspired to make this film. So it really helped us, and we actually spent more money because we had to go to Johri otherwise, because one of the first films to be shot in Meerut. Koi jata nahi, sab darate ki Meerut you don't go. But when I went there, I think it was better than shooting in Bombay, because the people were so friendly and so helpful. Yeah. So this perception that we have that places you don't go, in fact it's opposite. In India, when you go and make films, every state, every country, every state supports you, and every person comes and supports you there. So that's what it is.
You know, Tushar, I saw this film when I was in Dubai, and I must tell you that it wasn't the first show that I went to see there, but the film got a standing ovation. All of us stood up to clap for this film. And it's not always that it happens in Dubai, because, you know, they're so strict and everything. But this film, I still remember it gave a standing ovation. And we really many of us, we resolved that we'll show this film both both children, girl and boy. It was such a beautifully made film.
I must tell you one thing, ma'am. You were saying this. I myself was shocked when I saw the film, the edit, that I made this film. My father till today doesn't believe that I made it. He thinks my wife has directed the film. He keeps on asking me after 1-2 drinks, you really directed, or tell me Nidhi directed it. So it's a shocker for everybody.
So when the husband-wife team comes together, they always do brilliant. The brilliance can be seen, as you can say. Tell me one thing. Why did you choose this name, Saad Ki Aankh? Bullseye तो समझ में आता है, पर उसका बहुत ही literal. ये सवाल का जवाब आप बताइए. बताइए
That was a long fight. So the actual title was Womania, as everyone knew.
Yeah.
And someone else had the title, so we could not get the title. So we kept on searching. And Sand Ki Aankh was a line in the film, the dialogue written, which always somehow it rang a bell to my ears. Even Sir was not too happy. Then initially, a lot of fights happened, but luckily they had to announce I got lucky because no one agreed. Even Anurag got very angry when I told him this name. So, but luckily we had to announce the film. So they had no option. Then they gave me the title. They had to announce the film. So they agreed to it. But I knew that it's going to be difficult. A lot of people will not understand it. But my film was that people will see it, they'll understand it. मुझे पता था कि सांड की आँख में the whole point is bullseye. It meant that Sand Ki Aankh is bullseye. It had a swag to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And when you make a 60-year-old woman who had so much swag, I needed a title which had swag to it. So that's why I kept Sand Ki Aankh.
So Sand Ki Aankh and Panchika. Yeah. So both the name itself spells brilliance. You know, the meaning of both the films are spelled out in the film itself. So if there are no more questions, then I'm going to close this. Please.
To both the directors. See, both of you have made a movie on social issues. But over the years, things have not changed much in India. Whether it is male supremacy or, for that matter, even the caste system, it has not changed much. So what do you want to say on this? What is your take on this, both of you?
Sir, I'll ask you, you saw Sand Ki Aankh?
Yeah, of course. Today I saw.
Yeah, you will have respect for your mother today.
Will
you have?
Yeah, of course.
Then you changed. Thank you. That's my answer to you. So, if you are changing, I think people will change. We can only try. We can't do everything. It's not in our hands. But we can try. That doesn't mean we'll stop making it. We'll again try again. Like I said, I'll make biopics only because that's my effort, that I want people to get inspired. These are called inspiring stories that you need to make so that, and that's why I know that's why we are sitting, both of us are sitting here because they've invited us because we made inspiration movies. Otherwise, we would not be sitting here. So that's the whole point. So that if you liked it, then we are happy about it. And you might change today. You'll be nice to your mother and wife today.
Sir, my question to you is, आपने कहा कि आपको बायोपिक करना पसंद है. तो how it is possible without कोई सुपरस्टार या नॉन एक्टर लिए बायोपिक बनाना कैसा होगा? क्योंकि इट इज़ लाइक फाइनली होता है कि लोग देखने जाते हैं इफ़ इट इज़ अ वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड एक्टर. आप ऐसे क्या करना चाहेंगे कि जो बायोपिक की स्टोरी है उसकी वजह से लोग जाएं और ना कि कोई उसमें जो सुपरस्टार हो या कोई जो वेल नोन एक्टर्स हो?
यार वो तो हमारी नसीब है. मैं तो हमेशा बोलता हूँ डायरेक्टर हमेशा एक्टर के वैन के पीछे भागते रहता है. एटलीस्ट जो वैन के अंदर अलाउ करूँगा मैं उसको ले लूँगा. बट फॉर मी बायोपिक इज़ जो बायोपिक का जो हीरो है जिस किरदार पे हम बनाते हैं वो खुद सुपरस्टार है. अदरवाइज आई वुड नॉट मेक इट. आई ऑलवेज फील माई दादीज वर सुपरस्टार. द नेक्स्ट फिल्म दैट आई एम मेकिंग इज ऑलरेडी अ सुपर हीरो. सो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि वो ऑलरेडी सुपर हीरो है. एक और इंडिया में बहुत अच्छे एक्टर्स आ गए यार. सो नो अभी ऐसा नहीं है कि सुपरस्टार की ज़रूरत है, अच्छा एक्टर की ज़रूरत है. अगर इसने 6-7 साल के बच्चों के साथ पिक्चर बना के आपको यू लाइक्ड इट, देन देयर इज नो सुपरस्टार रिक्वायर्ड, राइट? सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ गुड एक्टर्स एंड यू हैव टू स्टार्ट वर्किंग हार्ड फॉर इट. दैट्स इट.
अंकित सर, वेंकटेश माडगुळकर जी मराठी के बहुत बड़े राइटर हैं और मुझे ये जानना था कि क्या आप मराठी पढ़ते हैं या फिर आपके पास ये स्टोरी कैसे आई?
नहीं, मैं मराठी पढ़ता नहीं हूँ, बट मैंने तुम्बाड़ एक फ़िल्म पे फर्स्ट एडी का काम किया था और तुम्बाड़ के जो डायरेक्टर थे राही, टिपिकली डायरेक्टर्स अपने असिस्टेंट्स, कलीग्स, फ्रेंड्स को साथ स्क्रिप्टिंग डिस्कस होती. तुम्बाड़ के स्क्रिप्ट सेशंस में मैं था. तो बहुत सारे राइटर्स के नाम आते हैं, बहुत सारे ट्रांसलेशंस होते हैं, एंड इन वन ऑफ देम मुझे राही ने बताई थी ये स्टोरी. बहुत सारी स्टोरीज़ बताई थी, ऐसा नहीं जैसे इन्होंने भी सत्यमेव जयते के बहुत सारे एपिसोड्स देखे होंगे, बट आपको कोई कोई स्टोरीज़ कनेक्ट हो जाती है और देन यू रियलाइज़ कि नहीं, ये मैं इसमें कुछ मेरा खुद का कह सकता हूँ, बाकी स्टोरीज़ तो यूनिवर्सल हैं.
थैंक यू सर.
So hats off to these young directors for bringing the women to the forefront, either by way of their achievement after 60 or as young girls, you know, portraying the tale of friendship Beautiful, and thank you. And I'm so proud to be sharing my dais with you. Thank you for joining us at the Pre-IB's press conference and at IFFI. Congratulations once again. Thank you very much.